Hi everyone. Today we're here to talk about community. But what comes with community is resilience and what it means to be human. I would like if you could raise your hand if you face any of the following scenarios: bullying, social media harassment, loss of family member or pet, or even belittlement. Now look around. You're not alone. We all face adversity at times. Now take a moment to reflect on these. How did you overcome them? We're all human, and to overcome this, we use resilience. With that moment in mind again, now imagine it being on the front page of every news story. Imagine being told to go kill yourself over it. Imagine losing your life savings. All from one moment. How would you not live through this moment, but thrive? My name is Shayna Jack, and I'm a thriver. I want to share with you all today not only just how I survived, but how I thrived and learnt from the adversity that I faced, in hope that it may help you moving forward. Now, I'm a strong-willed, opinionated, life-controlling, very organised young woman of the age of 25. I have 2 beautiful dogs, Hugo and Willa. I have 3 amazing brothers and 2 inspirational parents that I wouldn't be who I am today without. My rock, my partner, currently lives over in Perth. Now that's a tough one. I faced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in my young life, all of which, to many people's surprise, I actually wouldn't change for the world, because I am who I am today because of those things. We tend to have a habit of defining ourselves by what we do. When I would get asked, "What do you do?" I would always respond with, "I'm a swimmer." Now that makes sense. I've got the goggle marks to prove it. But this way of thinking causes us to rely on those titles for fulfillment. When I lost that title, Shayna Jack, the Australian swimmer, I thought, who am I without swimming? At many times, I thought, nothing and absolutely no one. This is my story of resilience and what it means to be human. At 19, in 2019, I found myself in the Australian head coach's room in Japan, feeling my life fall to pieces. I could feel my heart break instantaneously. I couldn't breathe, my chest was tightening, and I was miles away from my family, friends, and my partner. Accused, shamed, ostracized. I was deemed a drug cheat. I went from being a swimmer that most of the people here may not have ever heard of to one of the most well-known athletes in Australia. Now, have any of you guys heard of the name Ligandrol? A form of black market steroid, illegal in Australia. A word that will forever haunt me. Acknowledged by the people who actually accused me as a minuscule amount and that it had no effect on my body or performance. But punished and stripped from sport for 2 years as an innocent athlete. Confused? So was I. I had no idea what was happening to me or how I was going to get through it, but I had to figure it out alone. No rule book, no guideline of how to defend myself. I was hung out to dry by the organisations in which I represented for so many years, and learning everything for the very first time through this excruciating journey. I felt like I had no control over my life and that I was in a constant state of limbo about my future and what that entailed. When I got that phone call that changed my life forever, I never really understood why. And if I'm completely honest with you all today, I still ask myself that question. As I was part of a sport since the age of 2, and I started competing at the age of 7, It was a punch to the gut every single time I got news through my case. Not being allowed to play any sport, the legal fees, the defense costs in which I was solely responsible for paying, and I wasn't even allowed to talk to my own coach. I was pushed off a cliff into a completely new world. Many of us have experienced pain or grief, but what I learned very quickly is that no one can get you off the ground except for yourself. No one can force you to fight for justice. You have to be the person that makes a conscious decision to fight for your happiness and what you believe you deserve. We're all human, and we can do it. This journey entailed a world of unknowns for me. Lawyers, legal fees, false media stories, social media harassment. I could be here all day, as the list does go on. My whole world had turned upside down in that one singular moment. Everything that I knew as normal changed for the worse. I'd think about what I'd worked so hard for from the age of 10, all being taken away from me, and I had done nothing wrong to deserve it. Ever since I met my idol, Libby Trickett, I always wanted to be on the Australian swim team to represent my country. I never swum for the medals. They were always the added bonus. I swam for the feeling that you get when you're behind the blocks in the green and gold. The feeling that you get when you're in a relay with an amazing group of women with a sense of purpose and success. I pride myself on the woman that I am and the human that I am day in and day out, not for the medals that I win, but for the way I present myself each day. But now, in this moment, it looked like it was all being taken away from me. At my lowest point, I felt like a burden, especially to those closest to me, who stood by me day in and day out. If I was struggling, I could see on their faces that they were struggling, which then brought on the guilt. Guilt of being the reason behind their pain. I couldn't do anything about my pain at the time, but I could prevent theirs if I stopped sharing my struggles. If I isolated myself and stopped going out, people would stop asking, "How are you?" If I stopped visiting my family, they wouldn't have to see me without a smile. This is normal for people facing adversity. However, this is what pushed me into a state of depression and losing complete control of my emotions. I would put a face on for those people around me, and when I would get home, I would take that mask off, and every bit of emotion that I would feel would come crumbling down. It was always a roller coaster of emotions, and my partner had even begun to recognize those behaviors as it became so repetitive. I would enter that state of anger, angry at the world, angry that I had no control over my own life. This would come with the outburst of yelling, physically hurting myself and taking it out on those closest to me, those people that I loved. Next step, guilt. Guilt for being the person that I was and that I grew to hate. I was ashamed of myself and I hated the person that I had become. This would finish with me letting out all that pain and suffering through crying, unable to stand, the crying that doesn't allow you to breathe or speak. I could feel my heart break and fall out of my chest at times. This was not just hard for me, but it was hardest for the person who sat next to me every day and would watch me repeat it, being my partner. This day was a turning point for me. I believed everybody would be better off without me. My life wasn't going anywhere, and I hated myself for the person that I had become. I was alone at the house, and my judgment was very clouded. I tried to take my own life. My dog Willa laying across me, and my partner coming home to a worst nightmare for any loved one. Please get help. There is nothing more I recommend to everyone is to continue to work on your mental health regularly. I see a psychologist every 2 weeks now, no matter what I'm feeling, including happy. It is a healthy part of my routine every day. We are all human. With resilience comes the ability to appreciate life for what it really is. Life isn't fair. Life isn't easy. And at times, it will test you to your absolute limit. But if you can learn to overcome these obstacles and whatever's thrown your way, you will learn from them and cherish those moments of highlights. In my swimming career, sometimes I have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and remember, not everybody knows how to swim. I'm a 3-time world record holder, but my mum doesn't know how to swim. So every time I get in the water and do what I do, I'm grateful for the opportunity to feel so at peace in the world that I now love. I'm grateful for those who stood by me, no matter what, and respect the decisions that I make and what may come from them. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I don't always get it right, but I learn from them. And I'm here today as the strong woman I am because of everything that I have faced in life thus far. The greatest achievement to date is one that many of you may not see as a success. This was the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in 2022, the 100-metre individual freestyle. After having 2 years away from swimming to make my comeback in 2021 and thinking my resilience had been tested to the absolute limit, I broke my hand at the World Championships in 2022, a month prior to the Commonwealth Games, in a freak accident. To then have to overcome the statistics from 8 weeks to 4 in order to compete. Now, physically, as my amazing coach would say, I had absolutely no contention for a medal that day, as I was going against some of the best swimmers in the world. However, mentally, that medal was mine. No matter how much pain I had to put myself through, I wanted to get that broken hand or knot on the wall as fast as possible. And I did. I managed to swim out of my skin that day and secure myself a silver medal. There has and has not been a best feeling to date. Now, resilience had been my best friend in time of despair. I'm not standing here today to tell you it was easy to tap into my resilience. I had to work it every day, and yes, there were days that it was tested. I also used this time where everything felt like it couldn't go right to better myself outside of the pool. I did a certificate in animal studies because I love my fur babies, and fitness studies. I volunteered at the RSPCA shelter. I got my strength and conditioning certificate, and I transferred my degree from business to criminology as I had found a passion within the police service. In 2021, I came back to swimming. Not only for myself, as I wasn't in love with the sport at the time, but for the people who supported me, for the young boys and girls who looked up to me, and to ensure the organisations that tried to rule me out failed. I came back with a fight, and it continues to grow to this day. I'm a better athlete and person because I appreciate what I have, because you never know when it's going to be gone. It is better than the pain that I faced mentally to put myself through the physical pain and training each and every day. I have no apologies for who I am, and I'm able to look at myself in the mirror each day with a head held high. Resilience is not a concept you just wake up with. It comes through adversity and the challenges that you are thrown. And that's how you become stronger. Not only mentally, but emotionally as well. It teaches you lessons about life and truly shows you the meaning of life. If you never failed or felt pain, you'll never cherish the moments where you feel success and pride in the goals that you've achieved. After everything that I've managed to fit into this period of time, the one thing I would love you to walk away with is that resilience is a continued process. For me, I'm still having my resilience tested each day, as my main support work, being the rock that I mentioned at the start of this, lives on the other side of the country representing Australia in hockey. So I can no longer come home to that hug each day that I was so used to for 7 years. So what do I do now? I look after my mental health by speaking to a psychologist. I spend valuable time with my family and friends. I journal. And every now and then, I take a step back and appreciate life for what it is. Finally, I back myself and what and who I stand for. At the start of this talk, you may have felt that our lives are very different. I hope now you can see the similarities. We're all human, we're all resilient, and we can thrive. Thank you guys for allowing me to share my story. Thank you.